what is your primary medium?
Oil. I paint in oil. I do charcoal. I draw. I don't really, blend when I apply my paints. I more like 1, 2, 3, and I leave it alone, and then I just go to the next one. So my painting is, if you look up close, it's really messy. Yeah, you have to stay back and look at it. Yeah, I don't do representational either. I don't just like to make it look so perfect. I just want something that is imperfect, because as a human, being, we are not perfect, and I guess that translates into my painting. It just got to have some flaw to be perfect. If that makes sense. Yeah. My coworker asked me, her husband, who is a veteran and he suffered from PTSD, but he likes art and he thinks that art is, is his therapy. She asked me if it's okay that, he can watch me paint and draw. So I said, yeah, of course, why not? Just come over, and we can paint together. And that's when it started, my idea of, if someone wants to watch me paint and draw, why not I just start a, program where I could, establish this, as a proper class for veterans to come in and, join together and paint together. And that's, so I started a program. I approached the volunteer service, and they give me supply, said go for it, Gina. That's how I started. Yeah, it's more than incredible. I have veterans that cry, give me a hug, and said that, I'll be, I'm here for only 2 hours or 3 hours, but it lets them release that emotion and, the experience that they had. I will have some, like pictures that, I took of what they produced, and it just gave me a goosebump, because those pictures, you could feel the emotion that came out of that. It's beyond. I think art is something that it is more than just creating. It touches your inner self. It's release a lot of the subconscious, mind or feeling that you have without you yourself knowing it. It is just, it's amazing, I have to say. Art, it's therapeutic. If you suffer, you have mental issue, or you have some kind of the depression, or you just don't feel good about yourself, art can really help you subconsciously, I have to say, because you can't force it. You have to just start creating, because when you start creating, and that's when your inner self comes out without you knowing it. And that's the thing about art, it's magic. It's not only painting, it's not only it's any kind of the creativity. It's actually help you to improve you as a person, because when you are creating art, it is not so much of you creating for someone else to see. It is the channel. It is you create it for yourself, because you see something that is it's almost like tangible, because you can touch it. But for example, I'm painting animals, or I'm painting human figure. Yes, I say, oh, that's beautiful, but underneath that is actually what I project my own idea and emotion into it. But to be able to express that into something tangible, that's huge to me. I think that's huge. Yeah. No, never. I don't think, if you talk to any artist, I'm not speaking for them, but for myself, once you start art, you're hooked. You can't stop. You always want to create. You always want to be better. Art is one thing that, you discover something new every day. You apply the paintbrush, and then you say, oh, okay, I can go this way, or I can go that way. It's constantly learning. It's constantly challenging and improving. So that's, something I will never stop. Yeah, never. Yeah. If I don't create, I can't do something else. I don't know what else I can do. Yeah.